Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I have a film that I'm going to be reviewing. It's a French drama. It's under a few languages, French, Serbian and English, so all the scenes that are not in English you're going to have to do a bit of reading. Released in the year 2009, directed by Ria Rasmussen, who also stars as the lead actress, and this movie is called Human Zoo. And the story to Human Zoo is as follows. Set against the conflict in Kosovo and mafia activities in France, Human Zoo is the story of a young woman battling to break free of her destiny. A witness and protagonist to horrifying events, Adria struggles to carve out a life for herself in a merciless world. From war-torn Belgrade to the underworld of Europe, Adria must find a balance between her identity and the violence of her past that she cannot escape. It's not her game, but she has to learn fast if she is to survive. So the movie centers around the Kosovo conflict, Bosniaks being massacred by the Serbians. A very touchy subject, so it's always interesting to see another twist on this sort of very controversial subject. So Adria is the main character, played by Ria Rasmussen. She is an Albanian Muslim who is about to be executed by some Serbian soldiers, and she's also going to be raped. But she is saved by Shridan, who is a Serbian deserter. He's had enough of the war and he doesn't agree with it and he wants out. So he chooses to betray his country and he goes on the run with Adria by his side. This is where Adria learns everything there is to know about crime. Shridan has become a very vicious gangster in Belgrade, and Adria is witness to all the barbaric events that Shridan dishes out. She also knows a little bit more about life, and she ends up developing feelings for Shridan. So she doesn't want this life. She wants to put it all behind her. So she ends up going to France, where she is an illegal immigrant. She meets this American who she falls deeply in love with, and she sees this as an opportunity to get rid of her ghosts and to lead a new life. But she finds out pretty soon that the horrific events of her past come back to haunt her, but she is still very determined to make a new life and a much more peaceful life than what she is used to. So if you want to know how this one unfolds, hopefully that synopsis has left enough curiosity for you to go out there and see this movie for yourself. Now, what I thought of this film. I had huge expectations coming into this one. I'd waited for this one for so long to drop down in price. I finally got to see it, and unfortunately this came nowhere near the expectation that I had for it. Now, I will say that it's not a complete disaster. There are actually a few things that I liked about the movie. Number one, I liked the relationship between Ria Rasmussen's character Adria and Shridan. Now, I didn't like the relationship between Adria and the American boyfriend. I thought that was very unnecessary. But the relationship between Adria and Shridan was actually very interesting, and it really reminded me of the relationship in Leon, which was a French assassins movie, which I actually thought was a very good character drama. And this movie, it starts off doing that, and I actually thought that relationship they had was very, very intriguing. And the scenes that had that relationship going in it was actually the best part of the film. Unfortunately, Ria Rasmussen doesn't focus on that relationship, and I actually thought if the whole movie was about that relationship, it would have been a lot better. Unfortunately, she has another relationship in the movie that really doesn't work and brings the whole film down. I will also say that the cinematography, for the most part, the cinematography in Belgrade was very well done, very gritty, and you really felt like you're in the slime, the scum area of this, the Belgrade, which is the mafia. So I thought she captured that mood very, very well. The acting was pretty ordinary by everyone, especially the American, but I will say the character of Shridan did a fantastic job. I thought it was a brilliant effort from that actor. I can't recall his name right now, but I thought he was by far the best character in the whole film, and unfortunately the focus is not on him for the majority of it. So that was a big disappointment, and that's the start of the negatives. Now, the acting by Ria Rasmussen, it wasn't too good. I mean, she was the main actress, but she really didn't have a lot to her. There wasn't a lot of depth, and I really didn't feel sorry for her situation because she was a cardboard cutout. Then you've got her friends in Marseille, France, and this is when she goes to France, this is where it really falls down. Now, the whole film should have been focused on Belgrade in Serbia. It should have been really a Serbian film. But she goes between Serbia and France in flashbacks. So it goes from present to past, present to past, present to past. And it really doesn't focus on either story. So when you go to Belgrade, you're kind of getting into it, you're kind of getting into the situation, then it goes back to France. You're trying to get back into the French way, and then it goes back to Belgrade. So nothing is able to be developed. There is no attention to one particular story. So I thought that Ria Rasmussen, for her debut film, there is stuff to like about it, but she bit off way more than she could chew, and I actually thought she showed a lot of arrogance in this movie. Now, as I said, the storyline doesn't get a chance to develop properly. Therefore, when the emotional stuff happens, you don't have any emotion in it because you don't care what happens to the characters. And some of the characters introduced into the film were just very unnecessarily. In particular, the American. Now, not only was the American a deplorable actor, I thought his acting was rubbish. I just got very annoyed by him, and I really didn't care about whether or not Adria found happiness, because not only was Adria's character shallow, but the character, the American, I just wanted him to die. So that was always a bad thing coming into a film. The music was horrible. The music didn't fit into the film at all. I thought she was the director was trying to make it cool rather than an emotional piece. It would have worked a lot better with a lot more emotion in it. But the soundtrack was just so it was just so off, and you listen to it and you think this really shouldn't be in there. So you can tell that this was her first feature film because she really didn't. She doesn't have a sense for music in a movie, so it really didn't help its cause. And the ending, the ending was just like the whole film. It was just flat. And it really didn't know what it wanted to be. And, it was a complicated relationship at the start, but it was made even more complicated than it should have been because of the stop-start approach that she had to it. There was no continuity. It was horribly disjointed. And in the end, it just took a lot of enjoyment out of it for me. So, unfortunately, in this case, this is only going to get a 2 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 2 because the Belgrade part of the movie was actually really well done. The violence isn't so shocking. I mean, there is a shocking scene that involves a young girl and her family, but as far as graphic violence is concerned, it's not even really warranting an R18. The sex scenes are just gratuitous. I don't know why they were put in there. I just thought the director wanted to put it in there to be controversial. It's very graphic, but I just didn't feel it had anything to do with the story. Yeah, and all in all, it's just a pretty weak film, and I'm not going to recommend it. Definitely one of the French films out there that are not very memorable. Luc Besson presented the film. Now, Luc Besson is basically presenting every film now. He's not so much directing movies, he's more presenting it. So don't let that mislead you, because although it does have the input of Luc Besson, it's a very weak movie, and I thought the director showed a lot of arrogance in this film, and she bit off way more than she could chew. So hopefully her second film is going to be a lot better than this one. So this gets 2 out of 5, definitely not coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.